It will be
Okay.
difficult. Otherwise, it will be difficult to find out who is joined from laptop and all. I have to search each and every user. Okay. Yes. Okay, that's fine. Come on, it is asking for SQL 2017 instance. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, while removing the patch, this kind of issues you will get. Okay, sometimes, okay, it will ask you the SQL Server installation. Okay, SQL Server, the main RTM file will be there, right? While installation of SQL Server, will select RTM file, right? So sometimes it will ask you the main RTM software. Okay, so in such case, what you have to do is you have to simply, okay, attach the software. I'll show you just a minute.
Machine is not given.
Yes.
Anil,
What is your name? Hari Prasada?
Anil, Gorisela Anil.
Anil. Okay.
The Hariprasad also, sir.
Yeah, I gave you Hari.
Yes, sir.
Have you given me
Yes.
me access?
Yeah. You got the recording
Oh,
permissions. You are not
have-
recording since many sessions.
have I
Parameshwar.
started?
Parameshwar, you are recording, right?
No, I started.
Just now you have given, sir.
Okay, Anil, you can record. Honey, yeah,
Yes,
now I can see you're recording the session.
Yeah.
Yeah, try to record the sessions, okay, so that no need to depend on me and or my
No,
sessions.
I actually was waiting because you were just having conversation. So I.
Okay, that's
No,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
But now I was not getting it.
Yeah, okay. Fine. Okay, so let me attach the software. Okay, it is asking while removing the patch, sometimes it will ask you to attach the main RTM software. Okay, some of the files has to be updated, right? So it will search some of the DLLs and RLL files. In case if it don't find those files, it will ask you to attach the RTM software again. Okay, so what we have to do is simply go to your Oracle VirtualBox Manager. In this case, in our case, okay, in our case, we can attach like that, or you can directly copy SQL 2017 software to the C drive. In the organization, what we'll do, we have to simply attach the path of the SQL 2017 software. In the organization, we don't have chance to access like this. This will be controlled by the VM team, VOps, virtual operations. Okay, they are going to control the virtual machines, Oracle VirtualBox, hypervisors. Everything will be controlled by the VOps teams. Okay, we will have different teams, guys. VOps. So sometimes if your team member or manager asks you to contact VOps team and all, so these are the terminologies. VOps means virtual operations. Okay, they are going to take care of the virtual machines and all. WinOps means Windows operations. They are going to take care of the Windows machines, operating systems, extra softwares and all. Okay, network operations, NetOps, network operations, they are going to take care of the network related things. DBOps, database operations, okay, or infrastructure ops, IOPS. These people are also going to take care of the infrastructure related things. DBOps means DB, database related operations things. You have to like means your team only. Okay, so WinOps, VOps, NetOps. Okay, usually you can hear these kind of terminologies in the organization. Okay, let me attach the software. Okay, it was not attached completely. So go to the settings again. Storage. In case it is not attached, uncheck this one. Sometimes you have to check it, sometimes you have to uncheck it. That's it. Okay. Let me go and check. Yes, now it was attached, right? So now what we can do, simply the software is there in the D drive, right? Just simply give the D drive location here. That's it. Automatically it will check whatever files are there, whatever missing files are there, it will take it from the particular, okay, ISO image, the SQL Server ISO image. Okay, browse and you have to give SQL 2017 this PC. Okay, go to D drive, select this and open. Okay, so here if you see here, it is searching for this file SQL Engine Core Inst. Okay, this is an MSI file. Okay, SQL Engine Core instance means installation. Okay, SQL Engine Core inst. The type of please mute it. The type of the file is .msi file. Okay, so if you see here, okay, it is searching for this file in the main software, RTM software. Okay, so that's why you can see here it is waiting for that file. So in case if you found this file, you can directly attach this file. So what you can do is just copy this file, search it in the media. Okay, just search it in the media, you will find somewhere. Okay, you can see here, right, the same file name. Okay, SQL Engine Core inst, double click on it automatically. Okay, just it will take that file, then click OK, then your uninstallation will continue. In case if you miss any of, I told you, right, missing MSI files, MSP files and all, actually SQL Core inst file, MSA file is missing. So it is asking from where I can take that file. So we gave the software, from this software you can take the file. So while browsing that software, it will tell you which exact file is missing. Simply you have to search that file in the search option, search bar. Once you found that file, double click on it, it will take that particular MSI file and it will do it work. Okay, so like that you have to take care in case if you are facing MS, like I told you, right, while installing SQL Server, while patching the SQL Server, while removing the SQL, while uninstalling the SQL Server, while removing the patch for SQL Server. Usually in these cases, you are going to get .msi, MSP files missing. This is how you have to troubleshoot it. You have to attach the media. You have to search which file is missing in the search bar of the media. Then you can directly double click on it, or you can select open. It will automatically take the missing MSI, MSP files. Okay, if one or two files are missing, if you keep on getting the same issue, okay, I told you, right, Microsoft introduced one small tool, missing MSI, MSP files, that is around a 2 MB file or 3 MB file. You have to download the tool, you have to install it on the Windows server, you have to open it and you have to scan it. It will tell you whatever missing MSC MSP files are there. There you will have one option called fix all. If you select fix all button, automatically all missing MSC MSP files will be taken care by that particular software. Okay, no need to worry about the missing MSC and MSP files. Okay, it is going to complete the operation. See here, the SQL server is in stopped state. If you see here, it is showing red mark, right? The SQL server is in stopped state, means during the patching or removing the patching, okay, the SQL server will undergone for multiple reboots. SQL server will undergone for multiple reboots. Okay, so nothing to do here. Simply you have to wait the till patch is going to be completed or removing the patch is going to be completed. Just wait, automatically SQL server will come back again. Right, so let it be. Once it was completed, I'll show you the impact. Okay, the result once it was completed, then we'll go for the security. Okay, security is very important, guys. Yes. Yes, tell me.
What is MSA MSP files you have you're telling, right? Like
Yes.
I don't know what is a MSA MS field.
MSA MSP files are missing Microsoft installer files and Microsoft patch files. Okay, those are the supported files. Those are the supported files. Once you install SQL Server, MSA files and MSP files will come. Okay, fine. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So let it be. Next concept is security. What is security? Okay, what is kind of permissions? How to give permissions? A user is asking, please give the read permissions or write permissions or owner permissions or this permission, that permission. Okay, so like that, a user is asking the permissions. Okay, how to give the permissions? What is the procedure? What is the process of giving permissions? Okay, these things and all we have to taken care. Security, yes, it's a kind of little bit confusion will be there, but again, if you are very clear with the security, I'll help you to clear the confusion. Don't worry, guys. Okay, just listen carefully. Whatever I am doing, where I am doing, how I am doing, try to practice it. In case if you are facing issues with the installation, later also you can fix it. But if you are not practicing the security concept, you will be very weak in the security while giving permissions, removing permissions on databases, on tables, on objects. It will be very important, and try to listen carefully. If you don't understand anything, immediately let me know so that I'll help you to fix it. Why? Because security is a kind of confusion topic. Okay, we'll go there, we'll go here, we'll give permissions, we'll remove permissions, we'll do a lot of things, right? So you have to be very careful while giving permissions or while removing the permissions. Okay, so if you see here, all the components patch has been removed. You can see here. Okay, all components are successful only. Okay, just close it. Now what you can do is just refresh it. It is showing 3381.3, right, which is CU23 update build number. Okay, if you refresh it, it will go back to 1000 now. Okay, if you see here 1000.169, and again if you run this query, okay, it will go back to, okay, you will get this error, a transport level error occurred. Why? Because Microsoft has been, like, SQL Server has been rebooted for multiple times, right? This is an actual session, so which this session has been disconnected during the reboot. So that's why you will get this error. The solution is, again you have to run the query. That's it. Automatically session will be re-established. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, here also it is showing the same number. Here also it is showing the same number. That means patch is unsuccessful. Sorry, removing the patch is successful. Okay, so this is how you have to validate. Once the patch is removed, you have to inform to the application team, we have successfully removed the patch. Please check it whether your application is compatible to connect to the database now or not. In case if they are okay, then you can close the change request. Remember guys, once your work is completed, you have to close the change request. Otherwise, if the change is open, then change management team will contact you. Why your change is still open? Once your change is completed, right? Patching the sequencer is a change. You just scheduled a patch at night 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Patch is completed at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock only. Once patch is completed, you have to close the change request. Okay, make sure you just close it, the change request. Otherwise, it will face, like, otherwise again you will face lot of questions from the change management team. Every company will have a change management team. Change management team work is, they are going to, okay, verify which changes are successful, which changes are unsuccessful, and they are going to maintain the cab meetings. Okay, they are going to manage the cab meetings and all. They are going to approve the changes. Change management has to approve the changes. Once changes are successful, it's their responsibility to make sure all changes are closed, whether it is a successful close or unsuccessful close. Don't think all changes are successful close. Some changes will be unsuccessful close also. Okay, so make sure that you just closed your change request properly once your work is completed. Okay, clear, right? Just a minute guys. Right. Okay, fine.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Anna, we have to do uninstall patching also in the organization.
You just joined late, right? I already discussed why we have to do uninstallation of patch. Yes, we have to do. Okay, I'll share you the recordings. Just go through those recordings. Okay.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yeah, fine. Okay. So let me start the security discussion. Okay, security. What is the security? So we'll discuss about some of the terminologies like authentication, authorization, logins, users, principals, securables. Okay, these terminologies and all we are going to discuss now. Okay, so let me quickly jump into a, okay, graphical mode. I'll show you what is meant by login, how it will work, what is meant by user, how it will work. Okay, so before that, let me discuss terminologies. Okay, so authentication, authorization. So we have mainly four terminologies. One is authentication, second one is authorization, okay, third one is principal, and fourth one is securable. Authentication, authorization, okay, and principal, securables. Okay, so let's start with the authentication. What is meant by authentication, or let me start with authorization. Authorization, it is better to explain first, then authentication. So let me give you the same example. Okay, authorization means what? Say for example, if you go to any shopping mall, or else many of you people are working in MNC companies, right? So in your company, you can see some of the rooms that you cannot allow. You are not allowed to enter into that rooms. Okay. On the door, you can see authorized entry only. On the door of the room, you can see authorized entry only, like power rooms, server rooms. Not all people can enter into the power rooms and server rooms, right? On the door, you can see authorized entry only. What is meant by this authorization? Having access on some resources is called an authorization. Having access on some resources is called authorization. Okay. Having access on some resources means, actually, imagine for power room. Okay. A big building is there. There is a power room. Who can go inside the power room? Technicians, workers. They only authorized people can enter into that room. Not all, right? If you see server room also not everyone can enter. Okay. Server room also not everyone can enter. See, you cannot see authorized entry only. You cannot say authorized entry only in all the rooms. Okay. Only for specific resources only you can see. Okay. You cannot see authorized entry only for washroom. Washroom is a everyone can access. Okay. There is no authorization for washroom. Okay. But for server room, you can see authorized entry only. Why? Because not everyone can access the server room. Only those who are having access, or those who are authorized persons, they only can access that room. Okay, right? So authorization means having access on some resources is called authorization, right? What is meant by authentication? Right, you have a access on server room. You have, as a DBA, you have access on server room. Now imagine you have an access on server room. So once you have an access, how you are going to enter into the room? There are multiple ways of, okay, verifying that you are an authorized person, right? You can flash your ID card. You can use your biometric. You can use your fingerprint, or you can use your different methodologies like pin and all. Sometimes if you see in the movies, if they want to go inside a lab, they are going to enter some pin, right? Then only the door is going to open. The process of verifying, okay, the process of verifying the authorization is called authentication. Means you all use Gmail, right? You all use Gmail. In case if you don't have account, you will get an error, login failed, right? In case if you have an account, you are going to give your username and password. That is called authentication. Okay. Process of verifying means, here, once you enter the username and password, then the Gmail database will verify whether this particular user is there in my database or not. Yes, user is there. Imagine they verified for Karthik. Karthik gave his email ID. Okay, Karthik at 111 something like that, gmail.com. Karthik 111 at gmail.com. Like that, he gave an email ID and he gave his password. Once he gave his username and password, what it will do? Gmail database will verify Karthik 111 is there or not. 111 Karthik 111, like that. It will search all the records with Karthik. Yes, Karthik 111 found. Then what it will do? It will verify the password. Karthik 111 gave correct password or not. Every username will have a password, right? So it will match the password. Okay, Karthik gave correct password or not. It will match with the existing passwords. Then once the verification is successful, then only Karthik can log in into the Gmail. If Karthik gave wrong password, then it will simply throw you login failed, or it will throw you username or password is incorrect. In the same way, if you're trying to enter into the server room, either you have to give a pin, or you have to flash your ID card, or you have to give your biometric to open the door. The process you are doing to enter into the room, the process of verification is called an authentication. Having access on some resources is called authorization. Means to access the server room, you have an access. To access the server room, you have an authorization. You are an authorized person to access the server room. Means here the resource is server room. Having access on server room is called an authorization. process of verifying that is you is called an authentication. Okay, so giving username and password and all, it is an authentication. Having access on some resources, here the resources may be a database, the resources may be a table, the resources may be a server, anything. Okay, in our case, the resources may be a database, the resources may be a tables, schemas, stored procedures, objects, servers, anything is in a resource. Okay, so this is meant by authorization and the authentication, right? So any issue, any doubts here? Authorization, authentication. Clear, right?
Clear, sir.
Okay, fine. So let me discuss with the.
No, sir, it's very clear.
Okay, fine. So let me start with the principals and securables. The same example. Okay. Those who are accessing the resources, is called principal. Okay. The resources you are accessing is called securable. So in the server room example, you have a authorization. You are trying to access the resource. Those who are accessing the resources, those people we can call them as principals. Who are accessing the resources, those are all principals. What resource you are accessing? Okay, those resources are called securables. In this example, you are trying to access the server room, so you are the principal. You are accessing the server room, the resource is server room, so the resources are called securables. So the server room is the securable. Is it clear? Who are accessing the resources is a principal. Which resources he is accessing is a securable. Is it clear, everyone? Any issues, any doubts?
No,
Clear?
sir.
Clear, clear.
Okay. Batch 37 logins. Okay, right. Simply, okay. Simply those who are accessing the resources. If you are accessing the database, you are the principal. Okay, what you are accessing? You are accessing the database, right? Database is a securable. Clear? Now is it clear? So those who are accessing, that people we are going to call them as principals. Okay, which resources they are accessing, either a database or a table or some other objects, those resources we are going to call them as a securables. Okay, right. So let me start discussing the security now. Okay, so let me draw a server. Imagine this is my server. Okay, Windows server. Okay, this is my Windows server, and let me go with the SQL server. Yes. Okay, this is my SQL server. Okay, this is my SQL server. Listen carefully. Okay, I'll try to spend as much as on this topic. Why? Because it is very important. Okay, let me add some databases here. Right. So this is Windows server. Okay, this is Windows server, and this is my SQL instance. SQL instance. Okay. This is my SQL instance, and this is my database. Okay, so you know, right? This is my database, right? So we have two types of authentications, right? One is Windows authentication. Second one is SQL Server authentication. Okay, one is Windows authentication. Second one is SQL Server authentication. I'll show you how people are going to connect, in how many ways they can connect to the SQL Server. Okay, let me search for the laptop. Okay, laptop. Which one is good? This one is good. Okay. If you remember it or not, earlier we have discussed for work from home, VPN and all, to explain what is VPN, how people will connect from work, like while doing work from home, what they have to do. We have explained this concept in the video 12. Okay, so in the last class, if you see video 12 in the YouTube, class 12, sorry, class 12, there you can see whatever we just discussed about how to connect to the server remotely. In case if you are doing work from home, what is VPN, how to connect to the VPN, everything we have explained in the class 12 in the YouTube. Just go through it. Okay, right. So you are a DBA. Okay, this is your laptop. Either you are doing work from home or you are connecting from office. That is a different thing now. Okay, so now as a DBA, we have actually two types of authentications. Okay, in the SQL Server, we have two types of authentications: Windows authentication, okay, and SQL Server authentication. We are going to call SQL Server authentication as mixed mode authentication also. Okay, mixed mode authentication as well. Okay, so we have two types of authentication. One is Windows authentication. Second one is SQL Server authentication or mixed mode authentication. Right, fine, good. So how Windows authentication will work, how SQL Server authentication will work. Usually as a DBS, we all will have Windows authentication. As a DBS, we all will have Windows authentication. Windows authentication means what? Once you connect it to the office network, you want to connect to the server now. What you will do? Now you want to connect to the server. Now tell me what you will do. Tell me what you are going to do.
If you're in the office,
Yes.
yeah, if you want
Remote connection.
Remote connection, right? Very good. Right. So what you will do once you connect it to the office, you will just connect to the office network. Then what you are trying to do, you will try to type MSTSC
MSS,
or
yeah,
what you will
RDP,
do, RDP. You will simply type RDP in your laptop, so that you will
Yeah.
get this kind of screen. Okay, MSTSC, if you type here, you will get this kind of screen. You have to give the server name. What is the server name?
Yeah.
Imagine the server name is something like this, or let me give the IP address. Okay,
yeah,
let me give the IP address, something like 10.10.56.87. Okay, this is the usually in the organization server IP address will be starts with the 10 series only, guys. It's not like as you are connected to the internet, so that's why your remote connection starts with 192 series, but usually in the organization server IP address will starts with 10 series only. Okay, so this is the server name. Either you can connect either with the server name or you can connect with the IP address as well. Okay, so once you type MSTSC, here you will get this kind of screen. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to simply enter the IP address. Okay, 10.10.56.87. You will enter this IP address and you will connect it. Okay, so as we don't have that IP address, usually you will get an error now. Okay, that's not an issue. Right, let it be. So once you just type this IP address, okay, then you will get this window. Then once your connection is successful, so what you can do, you can directly connect to the SQL Server. Okay, so if you see here, you will get an error as we don't have that IP address in our network. Okay, let it be. So Windows authentication means what you are doing here, you're directly entering from your laptop to the Windows machine directly. Okay, you're simply entering from your laptop to the machine directly. Okay, let me go with user, right? So right now you entered into the Windows server. Okay, now you entered into the Windows server. Clear? Right, now you entered into the Windows server. Fine. Now depends upon the access. Okay, if you are an authorized person, now you can directly open SSMS here. Okay, here in the Windows server. That's fine. So what you will do here, simply once you entered into the Windows server, you will type SSMS there, right? SSMS, where in the Windows machine. Here you will type SSMS. Once you got the screen like this, what you will try to do, you will try to connect button. You are connecting to this instance, particular instance. This is the instance name. Okay, once this is called Windows authentication, means directly you are entering into the Windows server. Directly you are entering into the Windows server from your laptop by typing remote desktop or MSTSC. Once you entered into the server, then based on the authentication, see here, every SQL server will have a logins list. Okay, who can log in into my SQL server? If you see the security, if you expand security, if you see the logins, those who are there in the logins list, guys, those who are there in the logins list, they only can connect to my SQL server. Not all people. Don't think like everyone, those who can access Windows server can connect to the SQL server. This was explained during the installation. If you see add current user option or add option, while installing, you have to mention those who are going to access the SQL server. During the installation, we are going to add DBA team. Why? Because the installation is not for you. The installation for the team. The installation is for the application, right? So here at the time of installation, either you can select add current user or click on add button. You have to add all the teams there during the installation. Once you added the logins there, automatically those logins will be created here as a logins. Those people only can access my SQL server. Okay, so after the successful installation, then also you can add logins whenever you want. Okay, once the installation is successful, but at the time of installation, if you don't give permissions to anyone, if you don't add anyone, no one can connect to the SQL instance. Okay, at the time of installation, if you select add current user, that current user will be created as a sysadmin login in the SQL server. So you can log in as a current user and you can connect to the SQL server and you can create logins for others, right? Remember, just today you install the SQL server. Maybe next month one new member joined into the company from application side. He need access on the database. What you have to do, as you have a sysadmin rights, you can give access to him. Why? Because you can able to log in into the SQL server. Once you are able to log in into the SQL server as a sysadmin, you are a sysadmin in the SQL server level. So you can create logins and you can give access to anyone. But there is a protocol. The person who is seeking the permissions, he need to raise a request. He need to get approvals. Don't think like we'll give request to all those who requested access on the database. We are going to give access to them. Nothing like that. We need approvals from the manager. We need business approvals. We need justification. Why they are going to connect to the SQL server? Why they are going to access the database? Why they are going to connect to the database or table? We need justification. Once justification is clear, then only we have to give access, guys. Don't give if someone is asking. So you will have a lot of friends in the cafeteria or else in the uh, in your workstations, beside your workstations, a lot of friends will be there. If someone comes to you, hey Karthik, or hey honey, please give access on this database. No, you cannot. Why? Because that is not the way of giving access. Okay, so you have to ask them, you have to politely say, yes, I can give you the access. Please raise a request to track this action. Okay, so that whenever, like in the next, usually in the organization, audits will happen. Audits. So they will ask you, why honey, why you gave access to this person? What is the ticket? Where is the ticket? What is the business justification? So if you said, no, 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 he's my friend, he's my cafeteria mate, so that's why I gave you the access to him. No, it won't work then. So you have to go with the proper protocol. He has to raise a request. That request contains manager approvals, business justification. Once everything looks good, then only you have to simply give the access. Then you are safe. Why? Because you have an email approval from the manager. In that case, if that is illegal, these people, audit people, will ask the manager, why you approve this ticket? Now you are safe. Okay, so that's why some people will simply raise a ticket. I need access on the server. What access you need? What database you need access? What is your name? What is your login name? You have to ask lot of questions while giving the access. Lot of questions till you are clear, till you are safe. Try to grab as much as information from the users. People will simply raise a ticket. Okay, please, I need access on this server. Lot of access are there. Read access is there, write access is there, sysadmin is there, DB boundary is there. lot of access, lot of databases, lot of tables. What access you need and what resource you need access, like that you have to ask the questions till you get the clarity. Once you are very perfect, then only try to give the access. Till the information is clear, try to ask as many questions as you can. Okay, right? Windows authentication means simply entering into the Windows machine, and from there you are going to access the SQL server by just typing SSMS in the Windows server. What is SQL authentication then? Not all people will have Windows authentication. Usually DBAs will have Windows authentication. Apart from DBAs, some main heads from the application team will have Windows authentication. All other users or developers will have SQL Server authentication only. Okay. Even SQL Server authentication means don't think like that is a low level authentication. What Windows authentication do, SQL Server authentication also can do in the same way in the SQL Server. Both will have sysadmin privileges. Okay. How SQL Server authentication will connect? Here, developers won't type MSTSC as they don't have access on the Windows machine. They will simply type SSMS here. Okay. They will simply type SSMS here in their laptop. Okay. Right? So once they type SSMS like this is my local laptop. Okay. Once they type SSMS here, they will get the screen like this. Okay. SSMS. When once Windows people installed Management Studio in the client machines. Okay. So once the user type SSMS in his local laptop, then it will ask you, right, connect button to which server you want to connect. So what you have to do is same like here, how you are connecting, the same IP address or the same server name. Imagine this server name is like this. Okay. Sorry for that. Amazon